Buddy, what's up to what in the world? Because I have a lot to talk about. So, you know, I got my own platform going and I'm dropping a lot of music. I love the music, so it's important to me that I keep, doing God's word, and that's a story that I'm definitely going to get into in a moment because I got I got stories for days. And when my brothers passed away, I told myself, I was like, I'm not going to find another situation and just limit myself to just those around me. I promised myself that I was going to reach out with people, that I was going to get online, that I was going to do good, but the same therapeutic work that I do in Baltimore, the same therapeutic work that I do out here, I wanted to do online for everybody. Because the truth is, there's a lot of people out here that you wouldn't normally think can find me just by looking at me. Because everybody is, I don't want to say everybody, people are dropping that. But I have a lot of people confiding me that come from all backgrounds, whether they're a gangster or whether they own a business, whether I'd have friends that are master electricians, I have friends that have done 20 years in prison, I have friends of all different backgrounds. It's one of the beautiful things about Maryland is it's really so diverse, but it's so compact at the same time. And DC, they talk about it all the time. They call it gentrification. But it gave me a very unique perspective being here. And I'm grateful for that. I've always been grateful for that because I've noticed I've met really good people that have easy lives, mind you, but they don't understand certain things. When you come from a struggle, you get it when people talk about certain feelings that you had to overcome through your struggles. And at the end of the day, the reason why the internet's so important for us to interconnect now is because if we can all see each other's struggles and relate, then we no longer have to feel that way. Culture is super important. And I spent a lot of my life longing to know my culture, longing to know where my family comes from, because my father's side is very split apart. I've only met a couple of them. My cousin killed himself when I was young, and that made things, very difficult for my father to really be stern. At least that's how my mom would always put it. But they were Native Americans, so when you look into what happened to Native Americans with Alcatraz, they weren't given trial. They were just put in Alcatraz. They were raped. They were all whitewashed. They were all whitewashed. So you can look at my skin tone and you can see mold, and you can just kind of see it. The other side is Russian, and they stem back to Hungary, Austria, which is where Hitler was. And it's like, it upset me that now my mom's side's the Russians. My father was signed up during the Vietnam draft. So being someone who programs AI, I shouldn't have a hard time finding records on my dad when I can find records on my mother who's done nothing. Okay? And I don't mean she's done nothing as in like, but my mom hasn't done anything military. Definitely hasn't, done anything special to where her records would be easier than the steel workers. So like, I see where I just don't understand why it's so much harder to find the peaceful background in my DNA than it is to find the hateful, And I guess that it's because when you go look into the Native American part of it, it's the person to blame. Although there's not a person to blame, you know what I mean? It's just greed, it's selfishness, it's lack of understanding. when you meet racist people, 9 times out of 10 they're just scared, or they were taught that through ignorance. But like once people really integrate and see that everybody's people, they drop that whole ridiculous act that they were taught once upon a time. So like, and that's a huge blessing that I've got being born in Baltimore, because I've seen, it again, it's so culturally diverse here that you see everything, and it's all in a small part. So you see how everyone works together, you also see how they don't work together. And the truth is, if everyone just recognized that everyone was going through hardship and that we all were going through similar stuff, at least out here, then it would work. And I can say when we talk to the world, one thing that I recognize is that the world doesn't seem like they feel like they went through similar stuff, which is why I always felt like I needed to preach what's going on out here. Come here, Dish. Stop whining. That's why I felt like I needed to preach what's going on out here, because you go other places and they just don't understand. But at the same time, everybody out here gets it. And, the truth is, I know that a lot of places there are people that get it. They're just smaller in numbers. But the thing is, it's like, like Tupac would say, there's no reason that anyone should have $50 bajillion in private airplanes when you got people out here starving and kids that can't even, access education. It's just, there's no need for that big of a difference ever. And it's ridiculous that we've gotten to that point or allowed that as a society. What huge money doesn't want people to know is that as the US dollar fails, because it's failing dramatically right now, we have other countries that are working very hard on making it fail, and then we have crypto for other options. And at the end of the day, what does it stand for? It stands for blood. There's no reason this shit could continue. Like, I wish that it could, and not really, sorry. I like the idea of starting new, but like, it's just like, I love America, but America does not stand for the US dollar. We can be America, have a different currency. It's just a matter of like, everything that they do isn't secret, but at the end of the day, our lives, everyone I know would have so much better lives if everything wasn't a secret. You know what I mean? It's like the only ones that it hurts not knowing everything is us. They make us worry about terrorism because of what a few people might do. But in reality, what I found out is done to me is probably one of the worst things that I've ever encountered when it comes down to what they've done in history. And I'm still trying to be reasonable. I'm still trying to be polite. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still trying to do everything I can to work reasonably with people, because that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? I want to turn the other cheek. I just sometimes wonder, is it even possible when people won't? I will say this. So 12 years ago, I want to say maybe 13, my brother Dan, and I call him a brother, but I was 16, he was 40, so like, he was more like a father to me than he was like a brother. But there was so much love, and he taught as a father really should. He didn't let social ramifications define our relationship. And no, I don't say that as in someone who was cool with pedophilia, okay? What I say that is, and I mean, he saw the road that we were heading anyway, and he was like, look, there are things about this life you need to understand. And he just kept it real with us, that we're able to teach mentally how to get through trauma, how to get through struggle. Because that's what matters nowadays. We've all been traumatized. We've all been look at history. Like, it all goes back. We all went through it in one way or another, okay? So, the main point of that, I'm going to tell you real quick, see if I can get some more people watching on Twitter. My bad for that all sign, but talking about Mike, damn. I will say something crazy that I can talk about that will be real interesting for this podcast, right? So, God sends me a message with everything throughout my life. No matter what's been going on, God has always sent me a message. Even things that I don't understand the message for clearly right away. When we come back to, I'm always like, okay, I see you, God, right? So with that being said, I lost in 2021, Memorial Day 2021, 3 years ago. I lost Daniel Lil Day, my brother. We lost him 5/28. We're going on the 3 year mark here very shortly. And then you have 6 months after that. We have November 5th, I want to say. November 5th through the 8th. We lost Jerry Brown. We lost Casper. We lost my other right hand man. That was my other brother. It was a tragic day, okay? Two brothers, same year. We were like, we all three were a pyramid in what we did. You know, we just rocked with it. So after losing Deb, it was hard. But I had a kid on the way. And we lost Dan Memorial Day. And my kid was going to be born not Memorial Day next year, but 5/28 next year, an exact year after Dan passed, okay? So it was Memorial Day the following, or it was Memorial Day the prior year, when he would have been born when Dan passed. Well, some really weird stuff happened in the hospital. I was separated. I wasn't allowed to see my wife, and I never even got proof that kid isn't here on some craziness, but I'm told that that kid passed away, and you know, that's something that I look back on, and I just hope that, you know, I pray for the best, and, you know, I'm always all open, but I don't understand why, you know, when I lost, because a month before my kid was supposed to be born, is once I lost the child, I'm sitting there, I'm like, what's the message to this? Because when I lost my brothers, I saw where it made sense to be a father. When I lost my son, I'm like, I can't see what the point is of this. And then a month later, I lose my father. Maybe 2 months later. So I'm sitting there really just confused, because, well, I always understood, I always saw what the next message might be, and this time I didn't. But I didn't lose faith, I just kind of drifted, and, you know, people around me were having dreams, trying to bring me to church, all types of different things, and I was listening, but, you know, I was harping on the past, and I'm also someone who's always dealing with a lot. So being stuck in the past made it to where I wasn't really focused on the now, and I definitely wasn't focused on the future. And as I started coming back into reality, I see this R. Kelly documentary. You know, my wife had put it on, she left the room, and I don't know if y'all have watched it, but it's highly interesting. You know, the man used highly skilled, and, you know, I don't have to be someone's skin color to relate to their pain. That's one thing about me specifically. So I'm seeing these parents talk about how R. Kelly got there. He found in weird situations. He's now approaching women, okay? And that was crazy to me. So now we see that R. Kelly, highly respected at the time official, was getting away with this. And then I see two parents from Baltimore, and when I see the two parents from Baltimore, I'm like, that really hurt me, because I see two parents that have so much love in their heart, and they want to do right for their children, and the people that hurt their child is a monster. Then they're protected by bigger monsters, and these people are so scared they didn't even want to say more than that. and you just see them looking sad, saying, "Why won't anyone step forward?" And all I can think when I'm watching this, okay, is like, I wish they could hear me saying, like, I care, I'm here, I'm figuring it out. And I'll be damned if after that documentary I didn't start posting everything I could, because I'm like, look, they can't. They killed JFK, alright? Tupac started getting on. Anyone that got too close or got too home hitting, they really just got out the way. So, like, I made sure that I tagged everyone. I made sure that I was watched by multiple agencies. I made sure that it couldn't just get swept under the rug. And I got them all to have a conversation. So it's, everyone's been talking about things that matter. It's just we got to keep focused on what actually matters, because there are people that are dying to not have certain conversations. And right now, all they can do is hope we never have them. So it's important to keep on talking. It's important to really get this stuff out there. It's important to not get distracted, because we've been distracted our whole lives. And I've been trying to find out, and I get it. Football, all these things that are wonderful. I wish that my life was nice enough that I could chill and watch football with y'all, okay? I love the idea of being a sportsman, alright? Like, I wish that was my life. It's not. And if it was, I'd be right there with y'all. But because it's not, I have to be on what I like. That's why Pac spoke out to me so much just as a child. Because it was always about making this right. And if it wasn't, then I didn't really even care to be here. I'm one of God's children. I'm living here doing his work on his time. And at the end of the day, I can't wait for the day that God decides to take me home, or decides to bring home down here. I see evidence of both. It depends what people do and how they act. But I can tell you full-heartedly that, like, I'm just doing my best effort to stay doing the most good. A lot of people don't understand that good is an arguable term. The mafia understands that. They'll tell you there is no good or bad, because power is power, but power can be used and leveraged in many ways. And something that was bad yesterday can be turned good today just by a straight filter. Money can be turned good by taking all that blood money and washing it. And we can do a lot of great things with the evil that's been bestowed upon us by using it against itself with honesty, with love, with looking in the eye and saying, this is what matters. With looking in the eye and saying that moving forward from this date, I'm doing as good as I can. Well, you're doing the best you can. You're doing God's work, because at the end of the day, yesterday is nothing but something to reflect on. Tomorrow hasn't happened. Today is present. Today is the gift. So today, take the gift of the day and just do what you can. Work with what you have in front of you. Everything's not made for everybody. At the same time, everybody has their time. So with patience comes the gift of understanding that we have 8 billion people to consider, okay? It's not about just one person. It's not about just you and me. It's about figuring this out. It's about getting this done the right way, which is why music is so important. At first, it was, if I was to disappear, my voice got left. So I made sure to put raw stories in my music. I made sure that my music made people think, because I knew who I was going against. So it was like, I got the CIA fucking with me every aspect of my life. So at the end of the day, when I started making music, there was nothing more important to me than making sure my music was real. Again, idolizing Tupac, it was like, I still listen to him 28 years after he died. 27 years after he died. So I'm like, I knew the power of the voice. Anytime I started making money in life, making music was still always important, because I needed that voice, because I knew who I was going against. I didn't know to what degree. I didn't know that they've been watching me for as long as they have. I didn't know if they've been really, I didn't understand. But I knew that I was out here to help people, and I guess they peeped that early. I knew that I wanted to do good. take the pain that hurt my people. Again, Pac don't even really talk about Baltimore, but he from there. He went to Baltimore School of Arts. I know exactly why that's the case. That hurts, alright? It really does. It's not an easy thing to recognize. And if you Twitter started going out. But it's not an easy thing to recognize. If you do recognize it, then you recognize that just like the things that's going on in Baltimore are horrible. And it's sad. So like with knowing everything that's going on in Baltimore, knowing how horrible and sad it really is, it's like, what can I do but help? What can I do but help when I see everything? Because I see it all. You know what I mean? From R. Kelly being defended to, Tupac not being able to talk about Baltimore, to when you watch NWA, the Italian dude, the fat dude that just come up, that's kind of awkward. You know what I mean? Like, I see where it all come back. You got these artists that were hurt, put into positions like Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain might have just been framed for real, but regardless, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. You got all these depressed artists that have been singing, crying out to God for a while. And it's because they know behind closed doors what these people are doing, because they were a part of it. They were a part of these little weird rituals. And, they like to get control through fear tactics, because when you're scared to say something, they have power through suppression. And it's the same as a suppressed memory, suppressed emotion, the enlightening, the awakening. That's coming to terms with what's been happening, letting go of what we've been suppressing and repressing, and coming to terms with ourselves so we can truly move forward. Because right now we're stuck, okay? It's a messed up situation that we're in, but I'm telling you right now that we can free it. And I already see so many people listening to me. I'm grateful for it, because, not as much. I only have so many people listen to the stream, so I'm grateful for y'all. But I see where public figures, they may not directly follow me because of what they have to associate with, and they're scared to put it on their name, which I don't approve of. But I appreciate that they're still taking what I say, whether they go back to older Roman books or whatever it is, whether they have to hear it from God's mouth himself, whatever it is. I see that people are doing the right thing, especially when they can verify it, and that's okay with me, because with me, like, I was agnostic. I wasn't really here tripping off the whole God thing. I was just here knowing that people needed help, and I saw that people in power didn't want to help these people. So, like, for me, it's either I'm a young kid who's been praying to God, and God's with me because, I didn't have that greed, or, it's just there wasn't a God. And for most of my life, I just didn't believe. But it didn't mean that I didn't want to be a good person. It didn't mean that I didn't want to see good around me, So no, I wasn't defined by sin, but I did everything I could to make the world a better place. If I saw a problem, I fixed it. If somebody needed help, I helped them. If somebody wanted to talk, I sit down and talk to them, because people need to feel important. So even when I felt like my time of day was at rush, I would sit down and talk to people and hear them out, because that's what people need. I did a lot of good work going around Baltimore, and you hear about the situations, you listen to the music, yeah, you see the thug life. It's the same thing with Pac. I got to appeal to people. It's like everything has a reason. You see the jewelry I was wearing that the police took from me, well, that was literally just because in Baltimore I'm going around the worst hoods by myself with no jewelry regularly now, mind you. And it's to show that these people aren't monsters, okay? Yeah, we grew up in some rough areas, but these people are smart. I talk to them, I live with them, I be with them, so like I know what goes on in their heads. And if you don't understand, if you can't even acknowledge what's going on, you're never gonna see how smart these people are, because they're always gonna look at you like a fool. And that's what you gotta understand. When you speak about their foolishness and their foolishness, or let me not say their foolishness, but what's quoted to them as foolishness is their response to sacrilegious blasphemy, if not other words, well, they're going to look at you like a fool every time because they know they're standing by God. They know God working in silence. They know that God has been with them. And they know what you're saying is the same darkness that put them in those situations where they had to fight. Even if it's by negligence. Even if it's by, greed. If you good, that means that you're not trying to help the next man, right? So that's where the whole I'm good thing don't work. Because if he over here need help and he not getting it, he turning dark. Especially if he doing everything he can and everyone telling him that it's either going to work out or whatever it is. It's like we need to look around and we need to see what's going on. Because I can tell you right now, every situation I've been in, I have to figure it out. I don't got family to rely on. I had a couple people that I had in the streets that died on me. So, now I gotta figure things out a different way myself. I'm like, hey, hopefully I'll go online. I'll take off with that because I've taken off with other things 1,000 times. I don't see any reason why I can't do it with this. But, at the same time with music, it's like when you cry out of passion, think about Passion of the Christ, okay? When you cry out of passion, you are either crying from your soul to God, but at the same time, you are. But when you do that, you get things back from your ancestors, okay? This is light. We have people that miss us. And a lot of the symbolism I'm trying to show you through my life is that, the police disrespecting my dead brothers. That was a no-no. Like, literally. The prophet Daniel and the prophet Michael in the Bible. You know what I mean? Like, come on. It's just, I won't get into that. But we have, when we speak out of passion and we summon through art, we get love, we get things back. And when we open ourselves up spiritually, it allows us to see and feel things that we wouldn't be able to process or even imagine otherwise. That's what I imagine the other dimensions are. I imagine being three-dimensional is us being trapped because there's got to be a bunch of other dimensions, spirits within multiple of them that can do different things. I don't see why there wouldn't be. And I'm sure that we're literally just trapped, limiting ourselves by just straight confinement. I've one thing that bothers me, right, is when the police raided my house, okay? The first thing I wanted to know is I was like, why are y'all here? And I meant that. I wasn't trying to be funny, but it's like, why are you here? Like, I get that I might look scary, but who have I hurt? Sorry. I get that I might look scary, but who have I hurt? What bad have I done to anyone for my door to be kicked in? They didn't get caught out in the street. They didn't do nothing. So what the hell did I do to warrant my door getting kicked in? And they didn't really get it like that. So I'm like, why aren't you all out there chasing real criminals? And I'm like, how do you do your job? Like, I don't get it. Like, how do you stand behind this badge, go in people's houses, mess their whole day up, disrespect their dogs, disrespect their dead, make them have a seizure, and then say, I'll have a good day taking your truck? Like, it and I'm cool. I got back up on my own 2 feet like I do every time. It ain't nothing I can't handle. It ain't nothing I ain't been through. I'm figuring it out now, shit. But my whole point is, when I talk to them later, I'm like, if y'all was going after real criminals, I'd love to be police. I'm not cool with people that like go around beating up women. I'm not cool with people that rape things. I'm not, there's a line I stand behind too. To me, it's just invisible. I want everyone to see God. I want everyone to see the light. But everyone focused on this black and blue, and no one really sees that it's the light. You know what I mean? And y'all gotta get that, because the thing is, like, there's so much, people are so focused on themselves, and that's, I go into churches and I let them know God is mad at hell at you. And that's where I'm going to. I'm going to preachers and letting them know, why did y'all not stand up for these kids? That's what I want to know. You know what I mean? I understand what people that didn't really see the proof of God were focused on themselves. And I have no problem with that. But people that were in the house of God and preaching His word, why the hell did you just let this happen? That confuses me. I have a lot of anger toward that. We can look at Netflix. We can look at Sister Catherine. Okay, I'm from Baltimore. I'm going to Baltimore, so understand the archdiocese. Well, I know plenty of white kids that have been hurt going to Catholic school. They the weird ones that do the drugs. So, like, it's sad. It almost don't make sense. It almost don't make sense, but it do. It makes perfect sense. All right, and we it's. I really do appreciate everyone who's attended this podcast. By the way, I'm gonna repost it as well. But I really just, I love the idea of a spot coming and talking my life, because I have so much to talk about. I have a whole entire life. I have stuff to talk about. I was depressed for 2 years because, I lost very close people to me, but, they knew everything that I knew, and they felt it while I went through it, and, they felt these feelings that can only be replicated through the art of reliving the story, and they held on to different things that I did. So there was a very wonderful feeling that I got when we told stories together, and it kept me away from the world, I'll be honest with you. They sacrificed for y'all. They really did. They did what they did out of love, and I went through a lot of hardship because of it, but I learned a lot about not just who I am, but what I'm here to do, why I'm here to do it, who I'm here to do it for, which is everyone. I'm not meant to just straight attach to one person too specifically. That's not the work of Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, yes, I can love. I'm allowed to have my own love. I'm my own person with my own life, but I'm here to heal. I'm here to make sure that everyone understands that God really does love everyone. That's why I've spent so much time in the hood in Baltimore where people just don't think God exists. No, always watching. You always got angels around you. You always have angels that are close by you, okay? That's one thing that I can tell all of you is that, like, yes, I'm here in the flesh right here, right now, but everybody has angels watching over them. Everybody's connected to their loved ones. We're all connected, okay? I don't need to be an oversight of everything all the time. I can come down here and have my own personal opinions, knowing that my angels are in heaven and everything's being taken care of, okay? We have our own ways of making sure stuff goes about, alright? It's just the way it is. But what I'm telling y'all is, I can be Skotia, I can be Greg, I can be Jesus, even though I feel as though a lot of history is played with that man. I can be whatever. But it's more about you getting connected with your own spirituality. Yes, spirituality. Yes, unfortunately, I'm going to have to be face of it. One, because if not, somebody else will, and they're just going to take credit, and that's going to piss God off more than anything. But two, is because, I got to make my living off of something, and I can't do that. I can't be a fake person. I have to be me. You know what I mean? I've been crying out to be my real self for a while. And you can go through my Twitter and see that. I documented the process since my resurrection, since all of it. Because it's for anyone that wants to really study, it's important to see. I live streamed when I broke down light like a month back, and that's really interesting if you want to go back and see. I did a lot on Twitter that is really cool, just to be real with you. But I didn't want there to be a book this time. The holy book, we already have enough of those. The Quran and the Bible are both books I personally stand by. Okay, I think those are amazing. I'm sure there's other holy books that are wonderful as well. What we need is a clear depiction. So standing up with my face behind it, with this being motion pictures, with me talking to you live in the flesh and saying who I am and proving it through various different ways. You can go through my Twitter and you can literally see that I mentioned something happening and then it happens, okay? It's been happening for quite a bit. There's plenty of things that reassure me every day that I don't talk about because I don't have to, and I'm trying to build an audience because I need to connect for, like I still got personal things. Yes, I love my dogs, but I don't want to see them come to a bad end. I love y'all. I don't want to see y'all come to a bad end. So I'm like, hey, we can work together. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I personally know everything's going to be fine regardless. So like, but I just don't want it to be everything's fine for me and no one tried, because that ain't gonna be good for anybody, and that's just what it is, you know. So like, but I also, I programmed AI, I make good music, I do all these things, and I've shown that I'm capable, whatever. The only, I need to figure it out to where, I either am looking for, I'm looking for opportunity, but it's like people don't want to really offer opportunity like that. And that's the problem with what I'm doing, is everyone think everything just get given. But at the end of the day, if it work like that, then ain't nothing going to be getting given to anybody else either. And that's the unfortunate reality of it. And of course, the pure of heart are always love. But like, this is the time of guidance. This is the time of looking at everything that we went through as a world. This is the time of accepting the things that we've done as much as accepting the things that have been done to us. Because it's all, you got to be able to forgive yourself to forgive the next man. And we're trying to do a worldwide healing there, which means no ifs, ands, or buts. It's just all about acceptance, moving on, And with me personally, I just would like to not think about the eviction, and I don't, but it's not reasonable to not consider it when I don't have another option in front of me viably. So, I do have faith 100% that God will come through, but I'm also here speaking my feelings. The point of me not finding it yet could be because I'm meant to state these feelings of non-relation, and maybe someone will see me get blessed and they'll feel like good things can happen too. I don't always know why, everything is happening the way it does, but I know that it's always good at the end of the day. It always comes about, and I always see what I need to, and everything always comes together. So like, I have faith, I praise, and I think that regardless who you are, you never want to really be God for real, being Jesus is better, because trust me, it's not really the fun idea of being the end all be all and having to take the responsibility of every single living soul. It's better just to be the close son of God that he loved. But at the same time, all these dogs, all these animals that are mistreated, all of it is just not right. So like, I want to see everything treated better, for real. And you want it to be for the right reasons. You want to hope that when you're not around, your wife won't cheat on you. You want to hope that when you're not around, your kid ain't gonna steal from the chain store. You want to hope that when you're not around, people are gonna do good in the absence of your name, and do so with honor. Without being able to remember everything, I can accept that there are things that I don't need to know and to have forgotten. That's okay too. But at the same time, it's like, I can see where everything's changing in a logical sense, and there really isn't any denying it. Anyone who tries to deny it gets shown the same shit. It's pretty crazy. All you gotta do is look for it, and you'll see the universe is talking to everybody loud and clear right now. I know that anyone I've told that has told me they see the same thing, and it's just like I don't even have to push the thought. You know, you can reject it. At the end of the day, it's clear. If you're not seeing it, then you haven't been looking for it, or you haven't even at least tried to. But everyone has ancestors that miss them. Everybody has people that love them. Everybody has people that are trying to connect with them. Everybody has honor that's on their family, that's riding on them specifically, and it's something to recognize. You know, that's one thing that I try to tell people. Like, don't think that your ancestors are going to look at God and just be like, no, he means well, when they see everything you do if you're acting a fool all the time. You know, they'll say that, you know, you can be taught, but what is life but a lesson? And one thing that I've always thought about is, you know, if we're all still here, that means that there's something, or that at least, let me not say there's something, but that always means that there's more to learn, because there really shouldn't be a moment wasted. People hear a moment wasted and think, oh, I have to work every moment. No, it means you have to take advantage of every moment, okay? There are plenty of people that make a living off of taking advantage of people. I wouldn't necessarily call that work, but a lot of people do. And my point is, you want everything to be working towards the same goal at the end of the day. So I like to relax, make music, and do good things for myself, yeah. And what that does is that makes it, when I go to do other things, I'm relaxed. My brain's not, I don't have a part of me that's eager to do something else, because I've compartmentalized, I've satisfied whatever, you know. I've either decided that I'm not giving into an urge, or I decided I'm giving into it. But like the art of enlightenment and everything, you get to know yourself, you get to know your thoughts, you get to know where your head's at. Becoming one with yourself is truly beautiful, and then you take everything as it is, because the thing is, like, thoughts, all of it, we can, you know, we're able to pull more out the atmosphere than we think we are. But you got to be able to attract what you want as well, and that totally matters off of, you know, I don't want to say diet is in what you eat specifically, but you don't want to overeat. You want to enjoy what you eat, you know. Like, it's got to be made with love, or you got to taste the love, you know. It's got to satisfy that. And aircraft activity is pretty crazy around here lately. But I think that was just a fan. But it's one of those things that, like, law of attraction. You know, I personally, with everything I've been through, I'm doing my best to forget it. But I had to go on Twitter because while I'm forgetting it, I had to put it out there for the people that relate to that part of it. So, for most people, going and saying all your childhood trauma on Twitter might not be the smart one. But to get it out in a healthy manner, yeah, for sure. Any way that's healthy to you. That's what people don't understand about communication, is if I need to communicate something, I need to do so in a manner that's normal and healthy to me. And people so commonly put their emotions back into things, or their opinion back into things, that people feel as though they can't even communicate anymore. And that's a huge problem that we're seeing. So it's like, you gotta accept that what you're hearing might just being said in a way that you're not comfortable hearing it. Because so many times do people come to me and they're like, oh, well, I thought you meant this. No, that's not what I meant at all. That's just how you took it. And when I hear how people take what I say at the time, I'm like, wow, that sounds crazy. You know what I mean? But, like, that's just not how I meant it. But when you speak off of worry and doubt, speaking off of uncertainty, speaking off of the fear of the unknown, you're only leaving room for dark work. You know, if you want to leave room for light work, you gotta love the unknown. You gotta love what comes next. You know, we're a span, and time does move around us as well. And if you want to pick out the right things from the atmosphere for your future, you really gotta be the light that you want to attract. You know. So like, understand the balance, understand the good and the bad, understand that either way we're spiritual beings and there's a lot of energy and we can all feel a shift. I see that much. I see that I'm not the only one that's going through the measurable changes, and it's wonderful, embrace it. Cause like, why would you be scared of God's love? That's confusing, you know what I mean? Like, at the same time, I had watched plenty of bad stuff happen to everyone to screw me over on a funny note. People getting into car accidents, people getting into all types of stuff that I would never even really wish upon them. But when I think about who they were and what they did, I'm like, oh, that's really not surprising. But see, I also hate being the guy that's like, well, just bless me and you'll get blessed back. And like, God's gonna bless everyone on equal terms. Yeah, I know for a fact that, you know, actually showing that you have faith has always been rewarded. I've made it clear as day that if I'm not God, I'm literally here on His word only. But I just know I am for personal reasons that I don't have to talk about that. I'll talk over the series of the podcast and not just today. But it's just one of those things that, like, we can all do amazing things. We can all reach out. We can all feel divine. We can all tap into the spiritual creatures that we are. And there's absolutely no reason we can't. If you show, if you care enough to look into everything I've been saying and you actually see the proof I put on everybody and you show the loyalty or at least the faith, it's always rewarded. Because who the hell doesn't feel good when people believe in them? And yeah, I'm a person too, so like, oh, everyone's made in my image, so yeah, you make me feel good, I'm gonna want to make you feel good, but I'm also not gonna teach everybody how to just fake me. I'm not gonna tell them to do it for blessings. Like, yeah, know that you'll be blessed, but do it because it's the right thing to do. Like, that's what I don't get with people. Like, why can't they just do it because it's the right thing to do? None of these problems would be here if that was the philosophy. You know what I mean? The whole "what would Jesus thing do" confused me as a kid. Maybe it's because like it happened so long ago that nobody has any idea what Jesus would have done. Maybe. I'm fairly sure his name was Jesus. Everything else changed in the last 2,000 years, so I can see where Jesus became Jesus, especially when he was in Israel. But at the same time, history shows us where we came from, but you can look at my life and see my lack of history. It's not everything. You can see that we can still not talk to, that might not be the right word, but we can still connect with our ancestors. We can still know everything's truly okay. It's a feeling that I can't just walk around and give out, because once it's been handed to you, it's a blessing, because you know that the people that you worry about are good. You know that life is really just a trial of test. You know all these things, so it's like whatever comes your way, you're gonna be happy with it, because you understand that this is nothing more than trials and tribulations. And if it's a woman throughout time, you raise them to be a good mother. If it was a woman, or if it was a man throughout time, you raise them to be a good provider. But we had women who stayed at home and loved, and we had men who were warriors that not just fought for honor, but fought for continuance. You know what I mean? Fought for honor makes it seem like we're fighting each other for honor, and yeah, there's an honorable fight that's been going on for as long as it's been going on, then sure. These people have been using money to take children for a long time, and it's absolutely sickening. So, like, we can see where we're the first generation to really at least accept it. I can't tell you how long it's been known about, because once I started seeing the R. Kelly documentary stuff, I started being like, what the hell? Man. Once I started seeing, I don't know. There's just so much going on. Once I started seeing R. Kelly stuff, I started being like, what the hell? Because it's like, first of all, I realized stuff was happening, and I realized it was even happening close to home, but I didn't realize that it was that well known, nor did I realize that it was so easy to connect. That's what bothered me, was when I realized how easy it was to connect all these dots. Because it's like, damn. The only people that do care are terrified. Personally, that was why if you go back and you listen to my music, you can see where I really tried to be on the front line. You can see where I really tried to let them know, sacrifice me if you want to, but this isn't going to end. Because, one, I expected to be sacrificed. Just to be honest with you, I didn't expect to make it, okay? I expected to be sacrificed. These people killed Kennedy, Looking at Gary Webb, he was a notable reporter. They destroyed his life, They're very, very good at destroying lives. And they're gonna make sure everyone around you is terrified to associate with you. And that's why we gotta stand up and not be afraid. If we're afraid, we get dictated by fear. Okay? And that's an important thing that I want you to know. Now, also understand that's why it's important not to be crude. Because if you speak with power and you make others afraid to say their feelings, well then they're being dictated by fear and they don't even know it, and you're controlling with fear and you don't even know it, which is why I've been doing my best to really speak in one simple understanding tone all around and not just be emotionally triggered, because at the end of the day, I don't want to say I don't speak out of fear. I haven't spoken out of fear in quite some time, and now I truly speak out of understanding, and you have to seek understanding. And during your process of seeking understanding, it's also a process of seeking forgiveness, which is probably one of the things that's not in the new part of the Bible it should be. Is yet. Yeah, I definitely. I see myself probably even just podcasting once a day, because why not? Uh, or I might just be going live and then just make this a podcast. I'm not exactly sure, but I definitely love the idea of just sitting here stream talking, because, like I said, I got a lot to say. I probably should just limit it to at least the time, because that would be smart. Well, with all that, I appreciate everyone who watched this podcast. I'm going to be posting it up on YouTube. I'm also going to post it up on the site. Make sure to check out ScotiaMusic.com. Please sign up for the newsletter, because I'm definitely going to be communicating most important stuff through there that doesn't want to be missed. So definitely